Welcome to Masters of Self University podcast, your highest source of sacred truths and universal wisdom. Hello, beautiful souls. I'm Rachel Fiori, mystic, spiritual teacher, psychic healer, and founder of Masters of Self University. Join our journey of soul transformation as we deep dive into this latest episode. Hello, beautiful, mystical, divine souls. Welcome to Masters of Self University podcast. I'm Rachel Fiori, your host for this episode. Thank you for tuning in and listening. And before we dive in, make sure you subscribe if you haven't already and tell everybody you know about this podcast so they can learn the amazing things that you are being offered and they can join us in oneness. So, our topic for today is your body remembers what your mind blocks out. I want you to understand memory in the body on a little bit of a deeper level. And where I want to start with this is a lot of times people start learning about the level of coaching that we do and offer at Masters of Self University. Our incredible coaching programs gets to the core wound of everything, all of your core wounds, why they're there, and then how to actually alchemize everything. Okay. What we often call our default personality is really us without realizing it, because there's never judgment here. Without realizing it, we often are going into just victim consciousness and helplessness programs. That's just the way I am. No, it isn't. It's the way you've been programmed to be. It's the way you've been programmed to be. Okay. You run defensiveness programs, for example, because you feel inferior. You feel attacked when you're not, and you get defensive. You then go on the attack. You start with your intellectual domination programs. All of those are examples of superiority programs, which means they are inequality programs. And you are spewing that domination, doing that verbal or intellectual attack to your partner or whomever you're having a conflict or an argument with. And you're doing that because you actually feel the wound, or close to the wound is you actually feel inferior. You are the one with the low emotional IQ or emotional fragility. So you go on the attack, you get defensive, right? These are examples of programs that, like a cluster of programs that get triggered and start running all together. Boom, 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 boom. It's like a domino effect, although it's not linear. So all these programs get triggered and you realize, oh my God, look at all the programs I'm running, right? In the work that we offer at Masters of Self University, right? The type of coaching, we show you and awaken you step by step. Oh my God, look at that. My partner, for example, my spouse said this or changed their tone of voice, or, I felt like they were accusing me of something or whatever. And then boom, all these clusters of programs start getting activated because of an unhealed core wound. And boom, 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 there go our behaviors. Here's our reactions to things. Here are the programs running and, whatever. So when you learn this work, you learn how to see every program running, but also why, where it got created, when it got created. So here's where people start to ask questions like, but what if I don't remember? I mean, I don't remember being 3 and something happening at 3 years old where, my dad overreacted and yelled at me for some reason. And that created these programs and these wounds. And I got scared and now I have a fear program. I don't remember, what do you mean this was created in the womb? I've had, and I always give real life examples, by the way, in case you didn't know that. Nothing's ever made up unless I specify, like, I'm just going to make this up to give an example. So these are all real examples. Programs that were created in the womb when a woman is being beaten and punched in the stomach while she's pregnant by her husband. Okay. So real example. And there are programs of fear, extreme fear of being harmed or hurt, being very vulnerable, feeling powerless. Think about that. How powerless are you as a growing infant inside of a womb, inside of your mother's belly, inside of her womb? How powerless are you to what's happening, right? So, of course, programs like this get created, okay? So in these moments, I don't remember being in the womb. I don't remember. How am I supposed to remember before memory even is formed in a young toddler, or a young baby or something? And this is what I want to address. You always remember. This is how addicted and conditioned we are to remain completely trapped in the mind, completely trapped as we are without the ability to actually permanently heal things, is because we continue to rely on our mind for everything, like our mind is the master. Your mind is meant to be the servant, period, end. It is a tool that is meant to be used in service to your higher intelligence. Your higher intelligence comes from your heart center. So when you rely on your mind, you might never remember. Who cares if you remember or not? Doesn't mean anything. Okay? Doesn't mean anything if your mind remembers it or not. So I want you to understand something. Your body always remembers. It is in your body. And here I'm going to clarify this even more. Energy never dies. It always exists. It changes form. It doesn't die. So the energy that is created, the powerlessness, the fear, the fight, flight, or freeze response that is created in any given moment, those energies never die. That's why it seems so hard to heal, and why it seems like it takes so long to actually, truly, authentically heal. Because the energy that's created never dies, which means if you're just using tools and modalities, you're not literally working with and alchemizing the energy, not just working with the energy. A lot of modalities work with energy. All they're doing is temporarily moving energy, though. The energetic program, fear, flight, fight, or freeze, powerlessness, domination, control, whatever, inferiority, those programs, those energetic frequencies get created, and then they're never going to die. Energy never dies. All energy has a consciousness, and all energies are infinite beings in and of themselves. They don't ever die. We alchemize them. We can alchemize them so that they are no longer in that form, flowing through us, influencing us as humans, our personalities, our behaviors, etc. You have to learn to work with energy. That is what we teach at Masters of Self University in all of our programs. You learn to work with the energies themselves. And when you really learn how to identify, how to work with subtle energies, to understand what they are, where they came from, where's the wound, okay, how old is your inner child in this moment, you alchemize and create a brand new energy. You transform the energy into one of divinity, of divine power, of one of the frequencies of the universal ways of oneness, for example, if you're working with me in particular. Okay. So what does that mean as far as memory goes? Energy is memory. Energy exists. Energy is a consciousness, the consciousness of all that is. We just play with it in different forms while we're here incarnated as humans. And so what that means is when these energetic programs, emotional programs, mental programs, fear, for example, get created through our experiences here as humans, then one of the things that happens is you understand that energy got created, that energy needs to be alchemized. And until it is going to live on through you, as a part of you, until you learn in a very powerful divine way how to transform that. How does that energy show up? How does it show you? As a memory. As a memory. How does it show itself to you? That's what your damn triggers are. That's your fight, flight, or freeze. That's a memory. That is your body remembering something traumatic, something scary, something unloving, something that was confusing, something that was fill in the blank. That is your memory, period, end. That is a memory. Your body is remembering what your mind blocks out because it was so scary or so painful or so traumatic or so unloving or so confusing that you couldn't make sense of it when you're 3 years old or 9 years old. You didn't have the cognitive ability to comprehend everything that the crazy adults around you were doing. And so your mind can't make sense of it, so it just blocks it out. But because energy never dies, your body will always remember. How does it remember and try to show itself to you is simply by you getting triggered in anger, defensiveness, helplessness, victim consciousness. That is your body remembering. And yes, it can show up as physical pain and injuries and accidents as well. Yes, that is a thing. But when you are triggered by your spouse or your partner and you start getting defensive, or you start getting frustrated and angry and annoyed and judgmental, that is your body remembering. Okay. So you understand how complicated this can be, all the layers that make up our level of consciousness. Okay. Countless layers of energetic patterns, vibrational frequencies that reflect our level of consciousness. And that includes all of these programs and patterns that have been created throughout our lives, mostly in childhood when we're young, but also in very challenging, scary, traumatic times as adults too, when we don't know how to actually heal that and process that in real time and thereafter until it's no longer part of who we are. Okay. So your body, when you get triggered, remember what a trigger means. The trigger is not a synonym for anger. If you are pulled out of peace, 100% peace, you have been triggered. Notice I said 100% peace. If you are pulled out of peace, something got activated inside of you that triggered some sort of reaction. Mental programs, emotional programs, maybe behavioral programs, a wound that is unhealed got activated. That's what it means to be triggered. And guess what? That right there is your memory. You don't have to have your mind remember a specific incident at 2 years old where you don't even start to form memories until after you're 3 and older. Okay. So you're not going to remember in that sense, but here's the miracle of doing this type of work and learning how to work with energy is your body does always remember. What you learn over time in the coaching that we offer at Masters of Self University in our coaching programs, what you learn over time is you learn how to interpret the memories that your body and the programs that got activated are actually communicating to you. You learn to interpret those energies. Your body remembers 100%. Without a question, without a doubt, it remembers like it happened 10 minutes ago. Okay. And hello, that's why you're getting triggered. Your programs that you run literally are your memories. We are so fucking trapped in our minds. We are so trapped in the upside down world that we do everything backwards. We rely on mind all the time. Okay. Countless times I've had people say to me, clients, or people just maybe newly being introduced to the work that we offer at Masters of Self University. But I don't remember. Like, I know that I have a problem with my dad, for example. I know that, blah, blah, blah. And they'll tell you things that they have some self-awareness. I know I run this program, or I know that this is some wound of mine and I have awareness of that. Or I see the behavioral program. I see that I'm always showing up in this pattern. So there will be awareness there, which is beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. And there will be some memories. Of course, you have some memories, meaning mind memories, mental memories. Of course, some of those memories are going to be there. But a lot of times our mind blocks things out, or it's just too much information for the mind to remember everything. So it just doesn't. It picks and chooses what it wants to remember based on numerous things. Some of them healthy, some of them very dysfunctional. Doesn't matter for the sake of this conversation. Okay. But the mind just remembers what it wants to remember. And it's really good at blocking out a lot of things that it does not like, that were very unpleasant, that it felt powerless to move through during the time that it moved through it. Okay. Now, because of that, And because we're in the upside down world and we're completely trapped in our mind, and we have to wake up more and more and more to how deeply ingrained we have been brainwashed to live in the mind structures versus the higher intelligence, divine intelligence, which only functions through our heart centers. It comes through your heart. It doesn't come through your crown chakra or your third eye or any other place that you may learn spiritual. It doesn't. That's not where wisdom flows to. It isn't. And it doesn't mean there's not a beautiful purpose for what your crown chakra has the ability to access you to and connect you to, et cetera, or your third eye, et cetera. Don't misunderstand what I am offering. I'm not going into educating you in this episode of all of the purposes and uses of your crown chakra and what it can do and connect you to versus your third eye versus any other chakra. I'm not doing that in this episode. It's not the purpose of this episode. So don't fill in the blanks with your crazy batshit fucking mind. You should be learning that by now from me, huh? So be careful what your mind tries to fill in the blanks, all right? So that you don't misunderstand the deeper teaching here and what I'm focusing on, okay? So wisdom, higher intelligence flows through your heart center. That is the place where you are balanced. There's a million reasons why, okay? But it is the place where you balance. It is the place that connects you, your human self, to literally your soul, so your soul can move through this human experience. The soul, you were incarnated because your soul wants to experience things in physical, tangible form. Your soul wants to experience these things. Your soul is very excited to be here and experience what it can only experience as a physical being. You've manifested as a human being in order for your soul to move, to put your bare feet on the grass and to swim in the ocean and to pet and caress a dog and experience the unconditional love that a dog in canine form, this sentient being, can offer you, and you get to experience it in physical form. That's why your soul incarnates, okay? Your human self is the self that has to reconcile itself with its soul while you're here. And when we are completely disconnected from that, which most people are, until they begin the quote unquote awakening process, we make a lot of mistakes and we disconnect more and more and more, get more distant from the connection to our divinity because we don't live in our heart centers. We have learned to live in the batshit structures of our mental programming, our minds. The mind is never supposed to be a leader because it isn't one. It can't fucking be one. It relies on things like fucking logic. That is not wisdom. How logical are you when you have no wisdom flowing through you? Oh, for all of you people out there who are like, I'm so logical and rational. You're a fucking idiot, is what you are. You're functioning from fucking stupidity. I don't care what your IQ is. Compared to divine intelligence and higher intelligence, you, if you are at genius level with your IQ, can barely scratch the surface of a fucking preschooler when it comes to what divine wisdom is. So you're an idiot. And this is what it means to live in the third dimensional, patriarchal, fucked up matrix where domination and control and law brainwashing happens. It's why you've been brainwashed to stay trapped and addicted to your fucking mind, relying on your mind. And then things that are so in your face, so to speak, or I should say more accurately, in your body, you don't understand them because you're trapped in your mind. Your mental programs dominate everything, and you're relying on your mind to move you through life, to heal you, which it can't fucking do on any level. Your mind cannot heal, but your connection to your heart can. So you can't even see that this whole time that you have patterns, behavioral patterns, conflicts, nonstop, same shit in your relationship all the time, scarcity issues, and you can't understand what scarcity is. You could be a multimillionaire or even a billionaire, legit, all the financial wealth, and be one of the elites in the world and have some of the strongest scarcity programs. And in fact, most people, not all people, most people who are billionaires or trillionaires have nothing but scarcity programs. If you have greed, you run on scarcity programs. But they have billions and trillions of dollars, Rachel. How could they be in scarcity? Because you've been brainwashed to think abundance is only defined by money. You've also been brainwashed to think that money is the root of all evil, and that's a load of fucking bullshit. Greed is. That's a mistranslation of that saying. Complete mistranslation. It was never meant money is the root of all evil. Never. That is a mistranslation. And then that was used to teach people that it is. So they have really fucked up relationships with money energetically, because everything's energy. You have a dysfunctional, unhealthy relationship with money. You think too highly of it, or you think it's the root of all evil. Most spiritual people, you've been brainwashed, which is why you become spiritual. And all of a sudden it's like, I need to be broke and I can't have anything that I need to live outside of a tree. Like, you don't need, you just need to not live with greed. Greed is the root of all evil. So all of this living in the upside down world, all of the conditioning, we are so conditioned to be trapped, and we're so brainwashed that we don't even realize every goddamn time you are triggered, you are moving through a painful emotion, that you are experiencing the powerlessness or the fear or the scarcity or the whatever it is emotionally, that is a remembrance. Your body is remembering something, a trauma, an unpleasant scenario, something that scared you, something that confused you as a child that is unhealed. That is memory. That is a different form of memory, and memory is just energetic. These are just energies. Everything is energy. Your body is remembering. When you start shaking and getting nervous and you start getting anxiety in a certain scenario, your body is remembering. It is remembering. That is memory. So you're now invited. Breathe, drop into your heart, expand yourself, your consciousness right here, right now, by allowing in the truth that when you are behaving in anything less than the universal ways of oneness, so in anything less than a divine way, your behavioral programs come online. That's a memory. Your emotional programs come online. You're judging. You're criticizing. That's a memory. The emotion, the mental program of judgment, the emotion of judgment, and then the behavior of judgment, which we love to do on social media, don't we? Nah, 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 nah. Look at me. I can go fucking judge everybody, sit behind the screen and type, sit on my phone and type, tell everybody that I'm a fake, powerful person because I can judge and put down and blah, blah, blah. All of those programs that are running are memories. That is you remembering. It is remembering a time when you were judged and criticized and put down and made to feel so small. So you overcompensate by judging yourself. You overcompensate by running a superiority program, trying to make someone else feel, usually on the other side of your device, right? Usually on social media somewhere. You want them to feel small so you can feel superior to them. You want to be right. You want to put them in their place. There's a difference between, I'm going to comment on this one and I'm going to offer the way of truth. How that person takes it and misperceives it is according to their fucking programs. And that right there is your body remembering. How triggered are you when somebody talks shit? That's a memory. If you're connected as the way of connection, remember the 20 universal ways of oneness, grab the book on Amazon if you don't have your copy yet. Go to Amazon and purchase the 20 universal ways of oneness. Start to read about each and every way. As the way of connection, when you become the way of connection and you're truly connected to your divinity and you are the way of compassion, you are the way of harmlessness and gentleness, you are the way of presence, you are the way of unconditional love for your own pain, for your own inner child, for your own nasty, ugly behaviors that you're ashamed of. When you become, this is a becoming. This is the mystic's path to oneness consciousness. This is the path of the initiate of oneness consciousness. when you are ready, willing, and devoted, when you are willing and devoted to becoming the initiate of oneness consciousness. Okay. That means I am willing to become the way of responsibility and patience and surrender, for example. Every single one of the ways to the way of harmony, the way of loyalty, the way of purity, the way of integrity, the way of truth, the way of honoring. I am willing to become, and that willingness to become means I am also willing to see every way that I lack the ways of oneness, meaning every wound, every program that I run. That also means awakening to a higher level right here, right now. Oh my God, my body has been remembering my traumas and my unhealed stuff my entire life. I didn't realize those were memories. That's why we honor those memories. You learn that by becoming the way of compassion, the way of connection, the way of harmlessness and gentleness, all of the ways, so that you can eventually achieve the way of honoring of your own pain, your own programs. You could run really ugly, nasty, despicable programs, extreme toxic masculine domination, inequality programs. You could be an ugly son of a bitch. We don't make your programs wrong. It doesn't mean they're loving or they're acceptable or they're okay. They're not. It's unacceptable to show up this way anymore in this world. Zero tolerance for it. That's what we learn in this work. Zero tolerance for it. But feel my energy. Just because we have zero tolerance, and it doesn't matter how I say it. I could say right here like this in this tone of voice, zero tolerance for this shit anymore. No more. And even if I say it in that way, learn to feel the energy and the truth in it. Just because we need to elevate to a level of humanity where we have zero tolerance for all the fucked up shit that we see from human beings, ourselves and others. No more separation. All of us. Okay. Just because there's zero tolerance, when you awaken for real, does not mean that you have judgment or you're shaming or you're criticizing. Doesn't mean that. If you are doing that and you're offering the judgment and the criticism and the shame and the superiority programs and the blah, blah, and the belittling and the bullying and if you're doing all of that, it shows your lack of divinity. It shows how much healing you need to do for yourself. That's easy to understand, right? We don't dishonor our ugliness. We don't make excuses for it or justify it either. This is what oneness consciousness teaches us. So anytime you are triggered, anytime you are in your emotional pain, your body is remembering. It's that simple. That is a memory. And in order to honor that memory, you breathe and you drop into your heart. You begin to learn what it actually means to love your pain. And that means to become every way of goddamn oneness, to be in presence, the way of presence with your pain. That isn't a mental concept. It is an energetic experience. It is an energetic becoming of. I am the way of presence and compassion and connection and harmlessness and gentleness for my nastiest, ugliest programs, because my body is remembering something that was nasty and unpleasant and unloving for me. And I went through that experience. And because I've gone through that experience, this is my invitation to become something more enlightened. And when I can achieve that and become something more enlightened, that means that I can offer that enlightenment to my own pain. And when I achieve that and alchemize all of those programs and those wounds, so that is not who I show up as anymore, then that means that I have the ability to offer that level of enlightenment to those around me. What a beautiful gift you become to other people when you can become the gift that you need for yourself. Your body always is remembering. That's why it's so uncomfortable. That's why people drink and resort to their porn addiction or their drugs, or now they escape with plant medicine all the time and do all these tools and modalities so they don't have to feel their pain, and you're fucking missing it. Because the anxiety comes back, doesn't it? It always fucking comes back. Doesn't the depression start to come back? The conflicts and the fights in your marriage start to come back. That's how you know. Your body is trying to show you all the time it remembers. Energy never dies, it always remembers. It just remembers in a different form because you're so trapped in your mind, you haven't learned how to anchor into your heart center, become a heart-centered being. Heart-centered being means I learn how to embrace and read subtle energies, interpret them, and bring whatever way of oneness, universal way of oneness, as aspects of oneness consciousness that I myself am becoming. And I bring that to this scenario. And as I bring that to this scenario, I become an alchemist. I become a more loving, powerful, divine being for myself and therefore to others. Okay. That's how your body is remembering. Start to honor your body remembering things. Physical symptoms, diseases, illnesses, conditions. That is your body remembering unhealed traumas. It's time to elevate and become a higher level of consciousness, a being that is of greater light, enlightened, in order to alchemize and heal these things within yourself. So you can then turn around and offer that to everybody else that you know simply by being in your presence. Okay. Honor your body. And if you need help learning step by step, then join our free Discord channel. Join one of our coaching programs, our group classes that we offer teaching you this stuff. Grab the 20 Universal Ways of Oneness off of Amazon. Start there. Start somewhere, right? Just start. Get the Introduction to Universal Ways of Oneness digital course off of our website, Masters of Self University. Just start to become in whatever capacity you are able to do that right now, but don't use an excuse. Don't use the excuse. And don't use the excuse that because the situation that you may be in, well, I can't afford your coaching programs right now, but you could afford a free Discord channel in our community. Start there. At least start there. Grab a book and start to read the book. There's all different levels that you can start. Your body remembering over time deteriorates your body, creates disease because there's dis-ease. That dysfunctional energy that's been trapped in your body forever, that your body is always trying to remind you and show you, I'm remembering, look at this. This is triggering a memory in us. Your body always remembers. So now that you realize that and you know that for certain, it's time to breathe, drop into your heart, become a heart-centered being, get out of your mind, and move into the energy that your body is offering to you, that it is showing to you as a memory, so that you can learn how to love it, how to embrace it, how to validate it, how to nurture it, become the way of compassion for it, and all the other ways of oneness. And you can love it into transcendence, and then that's not a part of who you are anymore. Poof, there goes your anxiety. There goes the disease healing itself. But it is a process, and you need to be willing and devoted. You don't earn a doctorate when you're in kindergarten. You have to pass kindergarten, first grade, second grade. You have to go through the levels of becoming to be powerful enough to do this at the highest level. That should be a no-brainer. That's why one of the universal ways of oneness out of 20 are the way of patience. Offer the way of patience as yourself for your learning process. Learn how to become. Because when you just become and are these things, this is the beingness of what it means to be a being of oneness consciousness. But it is a becoming. So it takes the willingness and devotion. And as long as you have the willingness and devotion, there is no such thing as not being able to do it. There's no such thing as failure. There's no such thing as this not working. That doesn't even exist. There's no such thing as oneness consciousness not working. There's your refusal to do it or a misunderstanding and a learning process while you're dismantling the programs that block you from functioning in oneness consciousness to begin with. That is a process. So please, right now, in this moment, I'm asking you, hit that like button if you haven't already. Subscribe if you haven't already. Share this with everybody you know so they can learn too. Thank you for listening. It's always an honor to be here with you. I'll see you in the next episode. Bye, everybody.